Kate Mila Falcher, welcome to Irish Granny Helen, and welcome back, Deborah Lupien, voice of the AKASHIC Records. Welcome
Hi,
back,
everybody.
Deborah. Here
Thank
to
you.
solve
Good to
another
be back.
crime. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Today we're going to do Hot Toddy. That was her nickname. Thelma Todd, which I don't think a lot of people have heard of her anymore.
Yeah.
Did it ring a bell? No?
No. I mean, I knew the name, but I couldn't place it.
I'm a fan of these old movies. And so as soon as I heard what movies she was in, I knew who they were talking about, but I wouldn't have necessarily been able to pick her picture out. Because a lot of these very platinum blondes, Jean Harlow, and they all kind of look similar, but the same could be said for young women, the look today. Everybody looks cookie cutter, so it's not surprising. Anyway, Thelma Todd was called Hot Toddy, or the Ice Cream Blonde, or the Queen of Comedy. And she was extremely popular in her time. I really admire her because she was an astute businesswoman. She got messed up by the mob, not through her own fault, but we'll talk about it. So she was born in 1906, ended up being in beauty pageants and getting discovered, and ending up in Hollywood. I have her father was an upholsterer. Her mother was Canadian. Like being Canadian is a profession.
Yeah.
But, her mother was like many women in those days. She stayed home with her. Her father was from Ireland. He was an upholsterer. She was smart. She was good in school. She wanted to be a teacher. I have a question. I have a question for Thelma Todd. I was so excited when I heard this. She was studying to be a Latin teacher. Is that true?
Latin?
Yes,
Yeah.
Some people did learn Latin. Don't be shocked.
Yeah.
Yes. Or as they would say in Latin, ita vero. Yes. So was she really? I want to find out if that's really true.
Okay, so Thelma Todd, can you pop in for a chat? So is it true that you were studying to be a Latin teacher? She says no.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. She went to teacher school, and I heard that she was studying to be a Latin teacher. So, try as you might, it's very difficult to get reliable information. And part of the problem is that it's like a game of telephone over the years. Somebody says something, somebody else mishears it. They tell it to 5 people that, and before you know it, she's a Latin teacher. So, oh well, darn. I'm looking for where her real questionable stuff starts. Okay. She was put by Hal Roach. She was put in a series of short comedies with, now I'm not pronouncing this correctly, Zazu Pitts. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Yeah, the two of them were paired up like, Cagney and Lacey, except that they were a comedy act and they did shorts, 17 minutes, 20 minutes. But it was the first time that women kind of carried the storyline and were the protagonists of the storyline. And it was slapstick. She was the straight man, and Zazu was the one that was always getting into trouble, and she was the long-suffering one with common sense. What was that like? What making those movies together? What was that fun? It sounds like it was.
Yeah. So tell us about the experience with making those little series with Zazu Pitts. She didn't like being the straight person. She enjoyed doing more of the comedy. So it was like she did it. It was successful. She was happy for the opportunity. but it wasn't satisfying. She said it was like being Laurel and Hardy.
Well, she was in movies with Laurel and Hardy. She was always the straight blonde, the straight man, the one who wasn't. Yeah.
But,
the one
that's
that,
not who
that they
she
were
wanted
always
to be.
making fun of. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was in a couple of movies with the Marx Brothers. What did you think of the Marx Brothers?
So what about the Marx Brothers? Can you tell us? They were very creative. She admired them greatly, and it was really an opportunity to work with them. So that was a springboard. She appreciated that.
She was really lucky to be with them. I think they were incredibly intelligent. They were from a huge Jewish family. They lived in a tenement in New York. They were poverty stricken. Parents were immigrants. And their mother was determined that they were going to move out of poverty. And she got them lessons and classes that they could ill afford. They shared a violin, she was really, and they were, they were talented, and they went very far. So she eventually got this movie that was finally her first opportunity to be in a movie called Corsair. And the director was a guy called Roland West. And she had an affair with him, but he was married, and things got kind of weird in that relationship later, leading to a lot of the tragedy in her life. So I'm curious about this. Was this a throuple? What was going on here?
So tell us what was going on with Roland West. He was married. What was your relationship with him? There was an attraction from the beginning, but she did, hands off because he was married. And then at some point in time, it was like a spark got lit, and, they had an affair. She gave in.
What was her relationship with his wife?
So his wife, what was her name?
Oh my God, I wrote it somewhere.
Oh, you can't find it. Okay.
Jewel Carmen.
Okay. So what was your relationship like with his wife, Jewel? It was cordial, but cool. They weren't friends.
She knew.
Did
the wife knew. Yeah.
Well, she knew there was an attraction. And eventually, she did find out.
Well, let me tell you something. They bought a restaurant complex on the highway there, right across the street from the beach in Malibu. I've driven past it a million times. I've always been really drawn to it. There's some of the old building is still left. I'm going to get you a picture of it because it's interesting. They turned it into a cafe called Thelma Todd's Sidewalk Cafe. And it was that cool, like adobe red tile roof type style of the times. But it was on these weird levels. It was built at the foot of the Pacific Palisades. I don't know if you know LA at all.
No.
Okay, so there's the Santa Monica Pier. And then if you come this way and you're going north, there's Malibu for pretty far. And especially then, but even when I was there, not so much anymore, I don't think. But along Malibu Beach, rich people built little beach houses that eventually became really valuable property and mansions, some of them. But quirky, nothing was like the one next door, and there weren't a lot of them at first. And then this 2-lane road, Highway 1, just goes all the way up the coast from Mexico to Canada, basically. And the Pacific Coast Highway, right? Just 2 lanes, parallel to the beach on one side. And on the other side, if you're going into LA, you're facing Santa Monica Pier. On your left are these enormous cliffs. And that's the Pacific Palisades. At the top, way at the top, Santa Monica. And the neighborhood called Pacific Palisades. And then right behind Santa Monica. It's up in that general area is where the Getty Museum was originally built. It's built like a Roman villa. It's very cool. Anyway, at the bottom of this palisade, this huge cliff, was this complex that was a restaurant and a couple of apartments, and then a turret that was a ballroom. And then you went up all these stairs up the palisade wall, basically, to more apartments, and they were all connected. And I don't know how well you can see it, but you can get a taste of it.
Yeah.
So that round place in the back there, that was the dancing area, the ballroom. And on the second floor behind the Sidewalk Cafe were a couple of apartments. Thelma lived in one apartment. Roland West and his wife lived in the other apartment. And the reason why I was making all these suggestive questions is that Thelma's bedroom and Roland's bedroom shared a sliding wooden door.
Convenient.
Very, very convenient. And, well, I'll show you when we get to that part. So I guess my question would be, what was the purpose of the sliding wooden door?
Well, when you were telling about the cafe, I got from her, they bought it together.
Yeah.
Only because, as a woman, she couldn't purchase it herself.
I didn't think about that, but that makes sense, of course. Yeah. How pissed off did that make her?
Well, she told me, so obviously it still bothers her.
Thorn in her side. So here's a question for her. She was a good businesswoman, and it was a thriving business. But what's his name? Oh my God.
Roland?
Mafia guy. No. I've got it written down, and I'll stumble on it here in a minute. But this mafia guy had the hots for her, and she might have had a little bit of a fling with him. And there was organized crime involved in all the businesses around, and they forced her to buy her supplies through them. And they hiked up the prices, and they basically drove her out of business on purpose when Lucky Luciano, she had a relationship with him for a while. So maybe we should back up and ask. She had a very complicated love life. So yeah. She was married to a guy called DeChico, and it was not a good relationship. He was physical. So maybe she could talk about that first.
Okay. So could you tell us about your marriage? Well, it was one of those passionate affairs at first, but it quickly fizzled out. And then when she started pulling away, doing her own thing, having her business interests, he was offended by that. It offended his manhood. And that caused trouble between them, friction, and he did what a lot of guys did. He got physical to try and control her.
What about when in this series of events did Lucky Luciano come into her life?
So where did Luciano show up in the picture? Was it while you were married? No, that came later on.
So she split up with Pat DeChico, I guess his name is, and then she got involved with. She was still involved with West. I think they had that ongoing relationship, and then she got hit on, by Luciano, and eventually put an end to it. And he got this revenge by driving her out of business. Is that an astute interpretation of what happened? That he did it on purpose?
So did Luciano drive you out of business on purpose? Was it revenge because you rebuffed him? Not so much that, because he was in and out of relationships like water. It was more that he couldn't control her. She found ways of getting around the strong arming that was being done.
business, the supply money thing. Yeah.
Just roll over and take it. She was always looking for ways to wriggle out of it, and he didn't like that.
Yeah. So, there's not a lot to be said about her career. It didn't, there was nothing dramatically bad that happened. She was successfully appearing in these variety of movies and making her way into full length movies, and people really liked her. And she was popular actress, a queen of comedy, her love life was so problematic. Why was that?
So can you tell us about why your love life was so problematic? You got to remember, back then women didn't have a lot of rights. Men thought that they could pretty much do whatever they wanted with you. So if you got into a position of power, you had a little money, they wanted to get in there and strong arm you, just like Lucky, take over and benefit from what you brought to the table. And that really upset her. She was born in the wrong time. It's like she was wearing a straitjacket.
Yeah.
And she had so much creativity and such a spark of life, and just, really chafed against all the constriction that society put on her.
She was really smart. She was a good businesswoman. I mean, she almost went bankrupt, but it really wasn't her fault. It was the men screwing around with things, that she herself was doing a good job. So what really makes her memorable in the history of Hollywood is that her death was really one of a series of unexplained crimes and scandals and deaths that really got the morality police down on Hollywood with both feet. So the story is, she went out for the evening, and the plan was she was going to another event the next night. So she came home, I guess it would have been like 2-ish in the morning on a Saturday morning. Her chauffeur drove her home. And let me show you the arrangement, because it's complicated to explain. But these apartments, remember the round turret is the dance place? Yeah. That's the 3rd floor. The 2nd floor is the 2 apartments. And beneath them were 2 side-by-side garages, 1 for each apartment. So the chauffeur dropped her off, and he was going to park the car, and she was going to go up to her apartment. The story is she was locked out. Was it intentional? Was it done by Roland West? That remains to be seen. But it was cold. And she was in a silver lame evening gown and strappy sandals and not much else, And so she was really cold. And she went back. This is the story. She went back down these stairs. So we're talking 240 stairs. Sandy, rocky stairs, in an evening gown and high heel, Yeah. She went back and got in the car and turned on the heater to stay warm. And the story is she either fell asleep, or she was drunk and she passed out, or the carbon monoxide got to her. They didn't know from carbon monoxide very much in those days. Cars were, not everyone had one. They weren't as ubiquitous and well understood as they are now. And she was sitting in the garage with the door closed and the engine on. And so keep in mind, this is like very early in the morning, Saturday morning. She's supposed to be going to a party late Saturday, and nobody hears from her until the next day in the morning, when her maid comes, finds her dead in the car. So there's contradictory information about the state she was found in. Very quickly it was said, she passed out, it was carbon monoxide poisoning, accidental, And then there was rumors, maybe it was self-inflicted, but she really had no reason to do that. She the night before, she seemed perfectly fine, which I know is not always an indication, but still, it seemed unlikely. It especially seemed unlikely when later on an autopsy was done and she had broken ribs and bruising all over her
Mm.
and blood on her face. So that's it. No more investigating. That was the end of that. We don't know what happened to Thelma Todd. So I am really, really anxious to see if we can find out, uh, you know, what really, oh, she had damage to her throat internally, like somebody had shoved a pipe or something down her throat. That kind of damage, like raw, all down her esophagus, or maybe it was her trachea. Her nylons, she had nylons, silk stockings, and fancy metallic strapped high heels were pristine. So she's found in her married boyfriend's garage with the door shut, and bruising all over her. Let's see if I forgot anything of interest. So, shall I tell you what happened on his deathbed? Roland West said he did it on purpose. He locked her in the garage on purpose to teach her a lesson because she was out late partying. Her boyfriend, her married boyfriend.
But did he beat her up?
Well, see, that's just it. We don't know. So maybe we could ask her what happened.
Yeah. So, Thelma, can you tell us what happened the night that you died? Your chauffeur dropped you off. Is that true? Did the chauffeur drop you off? Yes, he did. Okay. And then he parked the car in the garage? She's saying yes. And was there a door inside the garage that went up to the apartment?
Could have been.
Because that's what I'm seeing. It's like, okay, so he pulls into the garage and she gets out and she starts going up the stairs to the apartment.
Well, stairs, I know that there were stairs right next to the garage. I've seen them because there's a video on YouTube. Somebody went to the place. It's still there.
Yeah. So maybe it's outside. But I'm seeing her
here's the stairs. Right here.
Oh, no, I'm not seeing those kind of stairs. I'm seeing indoor stairs.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's like she gets out of the car and she goes up these indoor stairs to the apartment. So she gets upstairs. She's starting putting her stuff down. So Roland came in and they had a fight. He's jealous. She's doing something he doesn't like. Was it another guy? Is that what it was about? Oh, no. No. They're trying to strong arm her to take over the business. She's fighting back. And he's like, no, let's not fight back. That's not a smart thing to do. And she is not going along with that at all. She's resisting. She does not want to give up her business. This is her independence, her dream. She's not giving it up.
Oh, it's her pension. Yeah.
Yeah. So he roughed her up. And then what happened? I don't know if did they do an autopsy on her?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing him like he's pouring something caustic down her throat.
Well, they told you she had damage to her throat.
Yeah, but they would have found that in the autopsy if he gave her something.
If they did a legitimate autopsy. I mean,
yeah, but
she had broken ribs and bruises, and they said it was carbon monoxide poisoning.
Well, maybe after the fact, but no, it's like they're fighting, and he's decided the only way to get out of this, because the mob's putting pressure on him. He's worried about his own life. The only way out is to take her out of the picture. She's not going to bend, so he offs her. And then he sets her up in the car. He stages it with the car on. Because who's going to suspect him? With the mob hanging around, that's an easy, blame
What
it
does
on
she think? What does she think about him? Because he confessed on his deathbed that he locked her out and locked her in the garage, and she tried to stay warm with the carbon monoxide got to her. But no talk about any of the rest of it.
Well, that's not even true. She wasn't trying to stay warm. He killed her, and he set her up in the car.
Right. I know he told a lie. He confessed to killing her, but he told, he made it not seem so bad. What does she think of that?
So what do you think of the fact that Roland hedged on the story on his deathbed? Well, she found out too late that he was a despicable human being, so it's not a surprise that he would do that. And it's like he wanted the glory. He wanted that big crime attached to his name for his legend. It was all about his ego. So, of course, he made himself look good. He wasn't going to tell all of the truth because then he wouldn't look good. And it kind of worked because it's this big mystique that's been around for decades. So she doesn't think much of it.
Does she have any sense of where Hollywood is going? Because I have this sense that we are watching the end of an era in Hollywood. She was there for the end of the silent films and the beginning of the talkies. And I feel like, she didn't live long enough to see the studio system, and then that was gone. Well, she was there, very beginning, but she didn't get to see it in full bloom. I feel like this whole Netflix thing, the big fire in Malibu, the AI doing scripts and editing and that kind of thing. I just think there's this conflation of things, this coming together of all these things that are going to bring down the movie industry as we know it. It'll be replaced by something else. What does she think about that?
So what do you think about what's going on with Hollywood right now? Well, she thinks it's about time. There's so much corruption, misogyny, and abuse. It needs to change. And she said, listen, it's not just Hollywood that's changing. The whole world is changing. It's going to look very different in another decade. And corruption needs to go away. It needs to be replaced with something better. So it's almost like, show me the Keystone Cops coming in and cleaning things up.
Well, I have a question. The logical question, I think, she says that corruption needs to be cleaned up and it's going to be better in 10 years. From where I'm sitting, it looks like corruption's getting more overt and worse. What could she say? I'm not just Hollywood, just in general. Yeah. So
can you tell us about that? Corruption getting worse rather than better. So what's going to happen that will change? The people won't stand for it. At some point, they just will refuse to cooperate. They will pave a new way. There will be an awakening where it's like they've been asleep for a good portion of their lives, and all of a sudden they realize this isn't what we want. This isn't helping any of us. We need to change. So with regard to Hollywood, they'll just stop participating. And when the money goes away, then there has to be change. So it's like the market will demand it. They'll have to.
Does she have any sense of what will replace it?
So can you tell us what you think will replace it? Well, streaming is already replacing it in a way, but that's going to evolve too. And so people will be doing their own, like on the smaller devices. They're not so much for the big screens anymore. It's like keep the movie in your pocket and pull it out when you have time to watch it, because it's a whole new world.
She's talking about smaller companies making movies, not having these big, like the whole Netflix Warner Brothers nonsense. It's just, kind of incredible. It's becoming one big gigantic corporation.
It is right now, but she's showing me a picture of it breaking up. That's not going to last. That's temporary. That's part of the corrupt system. So to bring genuine entertainment that people will pay for, that's going to have to change.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm getting a picture of the Ma and Pa kettle. You know, that brought a certain entertainment and innocence with it that people could enjoy and laugh about. Instead of all this intense drama and intrigue, that's not doing people any good. It's getting them all confused. They need to go back to a simpler way of relating to one another in a more innocent time.
How about relating to one another at all? It's just incredible. Does she have, who does she think is valuable in the world of movies today? Like, who does she admire?
So is there anybody in the world of movies today that you admire, that you would point out? Well, she said, I would have said Olivia de Havilland, but she's gone now. She was a grand dame. So who presently stands out to you?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. She likes Glenn Close. She said there aren't that many male stars that are even worth a thought. It's really a dearth of talent these days. She showed me Benedict Cumberbatch. She likes him.
Oh.
Anybody else? She said, well, for Helen, I'll go for Jonathan Groff because he has a certain appeal.
You know what? I'm going to ask her if I'm right. Okay. I get the feeling that Jonathan Groff is going to become just a mega star. He's already well on the way, you know, and it's not about winning awards and stuff, but in him, I see somebody who is so enormously talented in everything he does. He can do drama, he can do comedy, he can sing, he can dance, you know, he can act. I've seen him in a horror movie by M. Night Shyamalan. Did you know that?
No.
And he one of the leads, yeah. Really good. I wish I could remember the name of it. This gay couple have an adopted little girl, I think from China. It's been a while since I've seen it, so it's hard for me to remember. She's not terribly old. Maybe she's 6 or 7. And they have a little summer cottage that they go to. And they go to the summer cottage one weekend and they just have a really sweet relationship. It's really nice little family group. And it's completely invaded by, I won't spoil the movie, but it is. And Jonathan Groff is so compelling in that movie. And I just feel like he is going to be a megastar. Would she agree with me?
So what do you think? Do you think Jonathan Groff is going to be a megastar? He's going to need to take control of his own destiny. So he's going to need to evolve into one of those people who finds his own projects and shepherds them, not letting other people interfere with the creative process. Because right now, that's the difference. The people who are taking control of their creativity.
Yeah. And he's kind of a nice person. You know what I mean? He doesn't strike me as one of those really aggressive kind of people. Maybe I'm all wrong. You know, maybe I fell for the acting, but yeah, I could see what she's saying. I definitely see that.
Yeah. And she said there's going to be a lot more independent stuff, like little small startup companies coming up with really creative things in the future.
Well, if she has nothing better to do with her time, she can maybe help us out with our podcasts, with our channels. It's funny, people call these podcasts when they talk to me all the time, and they've gotten me into the habit of it because they're not podcasts. Podcasts are something completely different. Yeah. But podcasts have converted to doing both video and podcast. And so it's very confusing. But I think she's right. It's a fluid time in media, use of media.
Yeah, it has to be. It's got to change.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This was fun. And I'm sorry
you,
that
Thelma.
that happened to you. I think it's a big loss. Does she
Yeah.
think she'll ever come back and act again?
So, do you think you'll come back as an actress? No, she wants to be in a position of more power than that.
Oh. Okay.
She wants to get the chance to do what she didn't get to do before, to be in charge of her own destiny.
Yeah, I can understand the
So-
frustration.
Would you come back as a man or a woman? She's already come back as a man, so she would probably come back as a woman, but she's going to wait until things shift where divine feminine has more of a say in things so that she can live in a more empowered life. And she would enjoy that because her life was cut off so short. What was she?
Well, my
You know?
advice would be to wait until after 2060.
She might. But she was 29 when she was killed?
Now you want me to do math?
No, it's all right. But I seem to recall reading that. So, I mean, it was like
6.
life just getting
I'm
started.
34. So 28.
Okay.
And maybe she just had her birthday and she was 29. Yeah.
But,
She was
I
born
mean,
in 1906 and she died in 34. So,
at that age, you're just starting.
well, maybe she died in 35. Wait a minute. Well, in that ballpark. Yeah, she was young. When you think, I used to think of her as an older star,
Mhm.
just because old fashioned and a long time
Yeah.
ago. But I realize now she was virtually a child. It's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I enjoyed what she did.
Yeah, bad taste in men, but she'll do better next time.
We'll get that picker fixed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Thelma. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Deborah.
You
That
are
was
welcome.
fun. We should have picked her brain for what's coming up in 2060, but that's okay because we're going to do that with our next video.
All right. Sounds
I
good.
hope. Yeah, everybody keep an eye out. Deborah and I have been pumping these things out, and I've been uploading them, for public consumption as I can fit them into a schedule where I don't overwhelm anybody with nothing but true crime. I don't want to do that either, So I've been salting them in the middle of political stuff to try to be a nice break from that. And I think people have really appreciated it, Deborah. I don't know, you're busy. You don't have time to be, checking out the comments, but people are really grateful to have a distraction.
Yeah, definitely. We need that break from the intensity.
Mm-hmm. So Deborah and I are going to do a session right now with Edgar Casey, everybody's favorite. I can't believe how popular Edgar Casey is. So you all might want to stay tuned and check it out. So thank you very much. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Thelma. Thank you, viewers. And we will be back. Slán go fóill. Slán.
Bye.